to say a couple more things. I'm going to repeat that again for my virtual people. This is for college credit. You'll get History 102. History 102 covers Reconstruction to current. For most of you, unless any of you are majoring in history, this usually fulfills the requirement for history at a college level. You might have to take like a Western Civ class, but for the most part, taking History 102 fulfills your history requirement for most degrees, which is a positive thing, which is, again, your incentive to do well so that you get that college credit. Ivy Tech, if you go to a public institution in the state of Indiana, they have to accept this college credit. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The other thing you need to know is that it doesn't transfer a grade. So all it does is transfer the 3 college credit hours. Colleges won't accept grades from other colleges because they aren't sure about their grading policies, etc. So let's just say things get a little off kilter and you do end up with a C. It doesn't go on your transcript as a C, your college transcript as a C. It just goes on as History 102. I think that's important because none of us know what can happen in our life. Some of you might have things happen, and the best you can get to is a C. Never hope that that's the best you can do, but just understand that. So we start with Reconstruction, which is right after the Civil War. However, I also have to teach this according to Indiana state standards, and Indiana state standards say that we have to review. So I have to review with you the beginning of U.S. history back in colonial times up to Reconstruction, which is about 100 years. So how do we do a review of that? We do a very basic review. The positive thing is, and positive for you, negative for me, for about the first 3 weeks of school, a month of school, we don't test. We're just doing projects because I'm reviewing, and I take that as a review. So our first one will be very simple one, who discovered America? We got a project, you're going to look at all these different people who we attribute to discovering America. Did they really? And obviously we're going to throw Christopher Columbus in there. Did he discover America? No, he did not. He discovered some islands and killed a lot of people. So we'll be talking about that. The second part of that is all of these projects will say with your group or with your partner. And sadly, because of the current conditions, we can do none of these with groups or partners. It will be by yourself. So I did not change all of them. I know. Those of you that are used to finding the smart person to be your partner, sad for you, sad. I can tell who they are because the little light goes. Hang on a minute. Find a seat, sweetie. We just started. So the assignment will always say that, but it is not. And hopefully, maybe by the time we get to October, November, we can do group work. Because I do a lot of group work in this class. But even though the assignment will say that, we don't do that. It'll be by yourself. And the second part, again, about U.S. history is really, I think, important for you to understand is the story of our country and what that means to you as individuals and what that means to the country as a whole. I find it the most impressive part of constitutional democracy that as your teacher, I get to stand up here and talk to you about everything about our history. I am not told that I can't talk about this or I need to make that sound a little bit better and let's not talk about that part because it's really bad. We get to talk about all of it. And as an American, you should be really proud of that in this classroom, the idea that I am given a freedom of speech to freely teach the history of our country, the good and the bad. And that's really important because one of the things that I take very seriously as your teacher is building your critical thinking skills. I am not, and I do not want to be, and I should never be as a teacher, someone that's indoctrinating you to think like I think. That's not my goal. And one of my best feelings, especially as we go through this election year, that none of my students can figure out, am I a Democrat or am I a Republican? That's one of the nicest things, is because to me that means I have presented everything as equally and as fairly as I can. That's not my job. My job is to present you with information so you can begin to make up your own mind. You're juniors, 17, some of you might already be 18 years old. Anybody able to vote? Anybody going to be 18 by November? No? Okay. So you will be able to. And part of my job is to present you with information so you can make up your own mind. Obviously, your parents are your most important role models, or your guardians, or whomever you live with. But I would hope the same as them, that they would want you to learn to think for yourself. So my job is to provide you with all this information for you to think for yourself. Because we start this course at Reconstruction, we will be dealing obviously with a lot of racial issues, and I am very, very sensitive to that. The only time that my voice has ever dropped to a register and where I've ever disciplined a kid in front of other students, and I think my voice dropped to a low level, deep 9 satanic level. I almost couldn't hear myself, it was so low, was someone making a racial joke. And sadly, the little kid, I don't even think he knew it was, because he was a freshman. I think he was just trying to be cute. But that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me at all. Everyone in this class has a right to express themselves, be who they are without anyone making. I will protect that in the classroom the best that I can, and in my section of the hallway the best that I can. So the other thing that I need to say before we go through our really class rules is, those of you that have had me for World History know that that side of my room is usually full of color pencils and markers, and sadly they're all gone. We can't do community supplies right now for obvious reasons. We do use color pencils, markers, highlighters in this classroom, so that is something that you might want to think about getting. We don't use them every day, but enough that it would warrant you purchasing your own. If you have any trouble financially with that, please let me know. We got tons of stuff downstairs, and stuff the bus if you forget. I hate making you buy school supplies, because I usually just do it myself because I love buying school supplies. But because of our current conditions, we can't do that. And secondly, I usually have a textbook under the desk. For those of you that like looking at the textbook, we can't do that either. So you will have to use the textbook online. It's in every single module that we look at in Canvas. Tomorrow we'll look at Canvas, how I have my class set up. So the textbook is available. We just can't hold it anymore. And again, for those of you that have that need like me, I don't have a Kindle. I don't read anything online. I like books. That would be hard for me as a student, and so I apologize in advance for that, but that's not my rule. That's a school-wide rule. So I am going to take attendance, because most of you I know, but some of you I am not sure. And I will tell you, the most disorganized I've ever been at the beginning of school in my life. And I apologize in advance for that, because I am trying not to have anxiety attacks at the moment, because I'm so unprepared for all of this. So let me get this out. And we are, see, I don't even know what hour it is, right? It's second hour, right? Because it feels like third. Okay. So let me make sure I have everybody. Okay, and if you go by a different name, please tell me. Jessica. Hi, Jessica. I know all of your faces because you're in my hallway, but I just not all of your names. Lyric. You go by what, sweetie? Lyric? Lee. Okay, sorry. Bailey. Kevin. Alexis. Did you go by Alexis? It's not Madison. Tipton. Here. Laylee. Did you go by James?
I go by Chris.
By Chris, okay. Kennedy. Kennedy Hargis. Madison. Do you go by Madison? Sydney? Emma? Okay. I'm going to get it this year. Emma. I'm going to get it. I never got it the whole freshman year. Never. Emma. Carter. Mary. Hi, Mary. I didn't recognize you with your long hair. William. You go by William?
A lot of people call me Newbie, but you can call me that.
I know.
It's up to you. I said it.
Do you go by William? If I'm going to call you by, or would you rather be Will?
No, it's not.
I appreciate that. Tansy, Charles, come on, Charles. Luke. Gotcha. I love Charles. I love that name. Luke. Nick Roberts. Delaney. I'll change it here. Grace. Olivia and Genevieve. Okay. So you have to wear your hair wavy for the rest of the year and you're straight because you are Delaney and you're Grace. Okay. That would be awesome. Like if you went to a blonde, that'd be great. Delaney. Okay. Okay, that'd be awesome for me. Yeah. Well, you could be one of those. What does that kid, that stupid kid do? The reveal bleach hair. It's on YouTube. I don't know. I got lost in a tunnel weave and ended up watching all these girls bleach their hair and it all fall out. That's what happened during e-learning days for me. All right, so I'm going to pass out the ever popular classroom rules. If you notice, I punch holes in everything just for the ease for those of you that are really organized to put these things in folders. We don't have a lot of paper in this class. Again, if you've had me before, taking notes is the same way that we took notes in world history with PowerPoint. That's probably the only paper that we'll have typically in class, except a couple times when we do posters and things. So these class rules are fairly similar to everything else that we ever had. It's okay. Do my phone next to you, right?
I don't know if they have it still on the Chromebook. Probably not what you did. What I do.
Okay, so I'm not a desk sitting person, but if I sit at my desk, I can take my mask off. So I'm going to sit at my desk, and that way my front row people can take their mask off. So the very first, and I hate reading to you, but I'm going to read to you because that's all we're doing today, because I can't, it's only second hour, and I'm, like I said, stressed. Any of you feeling very stressed at the moment? Okay. Whew. All right. Let's just say I am very glad you're here. Again, for those of you that never had me before, I love being a teacher. I love it. If you haven't seen me express that in the hallway, I love being a teacher. I love being in this classroom. I love seeing you guys every day. I love being a part of your lives. Sometimes I get myself too far in your lives, like telling you to change the color of your hair, but that's what I do. I love history, and I also think that's really important. And I don't want to, I'm not picking people, but I know as a student, when I was a student way a long time ago, I had teachers that I thought, why are they even teaching? And they certainly don't like teaching me English. That is something you'll never feel in this classroom because I love history. I'm all about it. I love every part of it. I will tell you every day, history's everywhere, all about it. And I will make you all about it. Those of you that don't like history, a little teeny bit, you're going to like it by the time you get out of this classroom. I promise you. Right, Olivia? Right. Okay, I love my job. I also take it very seriously as being a teacher to help you become a better student. And some of you, again, have gotten by because you're really, really smart. Sometime you're going to hit a wall and you're going to get a class where, really, really smart doesn't help. I have to learn how to be a student. I have to learn how to take a test. I have to learn how to remember things. First, let me asterisk, we don't do dates. So those of you that are fearful that you've never had me as a history teacher, we don't do dates. There are only a few important dates that are helpful to remember. We will discuss those, but for the most part, dates are not an important part of this class. My goal is for you to succeed, both of us working toward that goal. I will help you to do my very best to become a good student, to learn how you learn. Everybody learns differently. Some of you are visual learners. You need to see things. Some of you need to put your hands on things, which is why I hate that we can't have a textbook. Some of you need to write things down. For the most part, sadly, that's most learners. They need to write things down. That's the part you guys don't like. Flashcards, writing things down, but that's typically. Some of you, those of you, how many Spanish 3 people? Okay, Spanish 3. And I'm going to also, asterisk, this is the hardest year you're going to have in this building. Junior year is the hardest year. If no one's ever told you that, I'm telling you that now. Honestly, forthrightly, straight away, day one. This is the hardest year you will have in this building, junior year. It's just hard. Ask anybody, the seniors won't know. Ask the seniors that graduated, they will tell you it's the hardest year. I've had 2 kids come through here, hardest year. Just because it's an academic year. Most of you are taking a whole load of academic courses. So that's important to know. So that's my job, to help you become a better learner. Spanish 3, I took in high school German, and German has 3 articles, der, die, and das. They don't make any sense. Masculine, feminine, and neuter. They don't make any sense. That a window is feminine and a desk is neuter. That doesn't make any sense. The only way I got through was color coding my vocab. So all the feminine were pink, all the masculine were blue, all the neuter were green. And so I didn't necessarily have to go through, I just had to do my color code. I see color, if you can't tell. I'm a color person. I'm driven by color, which is why this room looks like it does, because I need color. If you're a color person, think about that, what colors mean to you and how to help yourself that way. All right, so moving over. Questions up to this point. Talking a mile a minute. It's my anxiety coming out. Okay. That very first sentence, it's my goal. The best part of your day is this class. I promise. I'll do my very best to make it the best part of your day. History is the amazing story of us and the best story ever. Again, awesome that a country founded on an experiment of democracy still thrives today. Still thriving. Democracy calls people from around the world to our country. From around the world, people still try to come to the United States for the very same reason, the freedoms that we uphold and that are important to protecting our Constitution, etc. So that's, again, important. It requires participation, your best work, your respect. That's something, again, that I demand. I respect you. You should, in return, respect me, which, again, my phone policy, put your phones away. When I'm done talking, you can get your phones back out. Get ready for our grand history adventure. So, class begins by answering bell questions. We start with a bell question. That bell question is either something from the textbook that I want you to read or something from our notes that we took the day before. If there's a page number, you know you got to look in the book. If it's just an open question, you need to look at your notes. Please don't Google the answers, because I have very specific reasons for asking you those bell questions, because typically it's what's going to show up on a test and it's what I need you to know. You're going to do that on a Google Doc. Every Friday you turn those in. That's 25 easy points. Now, pausing for my other station identification, copying. Please don't copy. It doesn't take me long to find it. I grade everybody's, even if you copy someone that's not in this class, I grade them all at the same time. For the most part, that's usually where I catch people copying, is on bell questions, and I don't know why. It's simple. You're just putting something that I've had on the notes on a bell question. It might take me a while, but I'll find you. 2 things, I will write you up for it, and 2, I won't think any less of you. Everybody tries it. Everybody tries to get away with it. I get it. That's what you do as a student. How dumb is this teacher? Can we do it? It's a game. I win always. I will just tell you, I win always. I won't think any less than of you. So, but just don't do it. Just save us the time and answer the bell questions and do that. That's what you'll start class with. You can do them after class, however you want to, but again, make sure that you're doing them every day. Tests are scheduled and on the calendar. I get those up there pretty quickly. Again, it's the one thing that I try to do that would most be like Ivy Tech. Once a professor sets a test date, it's set in stone. Pretty much the only thing that can excuse you from that test is if you're dead or in the hospital. They don't care if your dog died, your mom died, you got to take a test. And surely you've all seen movies and TV shows about those kind of things. So once I schedule a test, it's scheduled. So if you're absent on the test day, you should know that when you come back, you're going to have to take that test. Do your best work, always. I do have a grace period of a day. So if we have an assignment due tomorrow, and most always I have my assignments due at 11:59, just because sometimes I know when I'm done talking, sometimes you're like, I need a break from listening to this one. What time do we get out of here? 10 o'clock. Okay. And that's the other thing that's killing me. I don't know when we're getting out or anything. Thank you. I just had them put that plastic back in. And I know that's
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Just because it was my
So
garbage
you got
can
rid
was
of all
filling
of
up.
them?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So if
could be that they
This
may
is
end
my
up being
only
an
one.
online student. There's a lot of them that don't show up, we figure that.
They said she moved.
Okay.
I always find that interesting. Like you just
Sounds
moved.
good. All
Okay,
right,
thank you,
thanks.
Mr. Woodsmall. So most always, I will have something due at 11:59. The only time I'll have it due at 3 o'clock is if I think you guys are jacking around too much, and I'm like, okay, it's due at 3 o'clock. But for the most part, everything's due at 11:59, and I'll be honest, it's because it's one less box I have to click on Canvas because it presets itself to 11:59. If you don't get it turned at 11:59, the day that it's due, you have 24 hours to turn it in without a late grade penalty. So you have a 1-day grace period for every assignment. After that, it's 60%. So there's no way in this class that you earn a 0 unless you don't turn something in. Okay? Is that fair? Fair. Okay. Canvas, we do everything on Canvas. The only thing that we don't do on Canvas, the only paper that you'll get with regularity will be our notes. And the few things that we do creative, like posters and propaganda things, we'll do on. But for the most part, everything will be done on Canvas. You need to get in the habit of checking Canvas. Tomorrow we have a little quick Canvas. I call it a quiz, but it's not a quiz, just so that you know how I do Canvas, because again, every teacher does it differently. I've got my contact info. Hopefully you guys all know that by now, emailing teachers. I teach from 7:40 to 2 o'clock. So my prep, my time without students is at 2 o'clock. So if you send me an email, I probably won't be able to get to it until that time, but I promise I'll answer it. And I will answer any email that you send me up till about 9:30. Please don't text me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I think someone died. My phone will bing and light up. I'm like, oh my God, somebody's died. No, it's just somebody asking me a question. So don't email me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I say that and you do. That was the one thing I hated about e-learning, is the flip-flop of hours, like you guys were. So what I figured out with my kids, because I get up my dog wakes me up at 5:30 every morning. If I got up at 5:30 and got on at 6, I would catch everybody right before they went to bed. That was the way I worked e-learning. I'm like, I got this figured out. I hit them right when they're going to bed. All my gamers, I'm like, what are you doing up so early? They're like, well, I'm not up early. I'm just getting ready to go to bed. I'm like, And if that gets too bright, you can close that. My P's prompt, please be on time. I'm pretty lenient to an extent and to a point with tardies, but please be here on time. Polite, again, I'm not asking you to like everybody in this classroom, but I don't do the just joking, because just joking is never just joking. It is mean, cutting, biting, and you just add a just joking so people think. So please be kind. Prepared, really the only thing, again, now the color pencils, and I'll try to remind you of that if we do, or maybe I'll put it on Canvas to kind of give you a blurb. Productive. Here's the other thing. Now, I don't know what you can get on your Chromebook. I have no idea. I don't know if you can get Grey's Anatomy. I don't know if you can get Pinterest, games. I have no idea. Once I'm done talking to you, and once we're done with instruction, I'm not monitoring what you're doing on your computer. But I want you to know that I know, because there's nothing that makes you look at a computer like Grey's Anatomy or a game. There's nothing that I give you that your keys go like that. I don't give you anything in class. I hope I didn't mess up my recording. That makes you do keys like that. And I am not going to say anything to you unless you're disruptive, because some people kill people out loud, make a lot of noise. If you do that, I will say something. But just know that if I get a question as to the reason your academic progress is the way it is in my class, that's the first thing I'm going to say. Well, they don't use class time wisely, and instead of that, they play games. I actually put that on your report card as well. If I have you and you don't use your class time wisely, that's one of the comments I will put. Doesn't use class time wisely. I love that little part. I can put anything in there I want. So I will. Typically, again, I'm going to talk to you for about 15, 20 minutes. You have the rest of the class period to finish an assignment. Whatever you do is fine with me. I don't care if you do other people's work. I don't care if, for instance, most of you have a teacher known as Mr. Satan. Anybody have Mr. O'Brien? Okay. How many of you have Mr. O'Brien? Okay, yeah. I don't care if you do his work, because he does where all of his homework is due at one time. I don't know if you know that yet. All of you are going to be panicking because all your homework is going to be due one day before the test, and you'll all be panicking. I don't care if you do other people's work. But just know that I know what you're doing, and if there's ever a question about your grade or your activity level, that's what I put. All right, backside. Class rules. I have very few small class rules. Be in your seat, hands, feet to yourself. No food, candy, or drinks. You can have water bottles. So you can bring a water bottle in. It has to be clear. No Yetis, no coffee cups, none of those things. And I hopefully you guys already know the water fountains don't work. The only place you can get water is downstairs, except for purchasing. 6 passes, I'll give you those later. I gave you 6 passes out for the semester to go to the restroom. And I do have a sign out policy. I've always had that. Sign out, take the pass, and then use the restroom. Now, we were told, and I want to verify and make sure, because of where my location is, if you really have to go to the bathroom bad, we were told during class that if you need to go to the restroom, you can make the break. That we're really just holding the path that we're taking during passing periods. So if you need to use a restroom, you can use one of your passes, sign out, and go to the restroom. We are taking a college level class, so I do try again to give you a little bit of that college level, because in a college class you could get out and walk out at any point that you wanted. So I do try to give you that. If you don't ever use them, some of you never want to get up and go because I don't know why. You don't want to walk in front of me. You don't want to ask me. I don't know. I do take those back at the end of the semester for bonus points. I'll probably do a little more bonus with you guys because I usually have the phone bonus that if you put your phone up there, I give you phone bonus, but we'll figure that out. Maybe we won't need it. Hopefully we don't. I already talked a little bit about cheating, academic dishonesty. Again, this is a dual credit course. If you cheat if you were taking Ivy Tech 102, you would be disenrolled from the university or the college. Academic dishonesty is real, it's serious, and it is highly dealt with seriously at any university. So what does that mean? Yes, he keeps looking on my dang door. Thank you.
You have any Chromebooks left over from this morning?
I already gave it to Mr. Woodsmall.
Okay.
You're still here?
Left
Okay.
here until Thursday.
All right. See ya. Okay, so what does that mean? One of the things that is required, and I don't like saying this on the first day of school because it's scary, is we do a research paper. So you're taking a dual credit, that is a requirement. So making sure that you cite your sources, I know. It's not until next semester, if that makes you feel any better. And we do baby steps toward it. We take like a whole month during March because I'm doing something else during March. So teaching. Just saying. Anybody knows what I'm doing during March? It's okay. Nobody knows what's March. Thank you. One word, madness. I have got all my fingers and toes crossed. I don't care about Big Ten football. I don't care about any of that. We don't do basketball in this. I'll be very upset. So what does that mean? Academic dishonesty. It doesn't mean that you can't put stuff in your paper from other sources. It just means you have to cite it and say that it's theirs. So we'll talk a baby step through that. Again, I talked about cell phone policies. Again, no phones, and it means no phones when I'm talking, no phones when we're doing work together. Technology, bring your Chromebooks every day. Again, we will use these just about every single day. Make sure I don't mind when I'm finished if you guys listen to music, just making sure that it's not loud that other people can hear it. So please bring whatever instruments you need to make that go in your ear. And please, again, your ears, make sure you're taking care of them because I know that it doesn't seem like you're going to get old and can't hear, but it's going to happen. You're going to get old and can't hear. You're responsible for your time management. And that's where I have all that Pinterest, all that stuff. So anybody have any questions for me about what this class is, what you need for the class, what we'll be doing? Is everybody happy with their seats? Now is a time if you want to get up and move because I'm going to make my seating chart. Have you all been told why we have to do this? Is that okay? I just always assume that teachers are as motor-mouthy as I am. The reason we have to have assigned seats is for contact tracing. So let's say Luke tests positive. Part of my job is to, in this classroom, who has Luke been in close contact with? And it's Luke, correct? Okay, thank you. You're looking at me like I'm not, because I'm still going to think Charles. But so if he has it, we have to inform that William, Genevieve, Grace, Delaney, Carter sits in close proximity. So that's why we have to have that. The same thing again with lunch. When you guys go to lunch, you're going to have to pick your seats for lunch and stay in those seats for the year. So, yeah. All right. If you don't have anything else for me, anybody have any questions for me while I go through this and try to figure out what I'm at again?
So is acting only first period all year?
Yes. Yeah. I shouldn't say all year.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Twice in a row.